Hi Vishnu, hi Sid, hi Kiara. This is Anushka here from Sunrise Radio. Really lovely to be speaking to you guys, and I'm glad this is happening. So Vishnu, I'm going to start with you. Firstly, congratulations on a wonderful trailer. It's looking really, really good. Very powerful, really packs a punch. So really looking forward to watching it. But Vishnu, tell me, you've done a lot of research. I mean, how complicated was this story for you to, get the script and zero in on the script firstly?
No, I think before I get to the complicated part, so yeah, a lot of research. We did a couple of months, myself and Sandeep Srivastav, who's a writer of the film. So initially when we came on board, already Sandeep had done one round of research. So the fact is, that material is not enough, because that's what you have seen. I need to know what it is. So we went another round. Another round in the sense it's not about just going through the material, but traveling all around and meeting every single person associated with Captain Vikram Batra and his family. So it took a couple of months. They're placed all over the country. So that was quite. So we didn't think of anything rather than just observing, just knowing what Captain Vikram Batra was and what, because we this just your books or the material is not going to give you enough information. So we need to gather everything, soak in everything, put everything down on the paper, irrespective of what the script is going to be. That is much more important and needed. So beyond that, then comes the next stage where you started scripting. Then we realized. With all the events that happen in his life, just this 2 hours is not going to be. Now that is a complicated part. When you come to putting everything together in 2 hours, that's where the decision had to be taken. So which part of the life that you're going to talk about? Captain Vikram Batra is known for his achievements on the battlefield. That's what he's predominantly known for, capturing the feature 0.5140 and 4875. And especially the most interesting part of his life is also his relationship with his Dimple. Now that becomes a film by itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Film by itself. And also you have his service, which is a film by itself. And then you have Vishal Batra, his identical twin brother. How more filmy can it get now? Tell me, it's getting more and more. You have identical twin brother. Now that's a film by itself. It's like 3-4 films you're putting it together and trying to just sum it up in just a 2 hour, one single feature film. So that was the most complicated part, in putting all the research materials together. Then we have to really see whose perspective we're going to narrate the story and what are the key factors that is going to define Captain Vikram Batra, and just narrow down to him as a soldier. And the most beautiful story that he's got is his relationship with Dimple. I think that is the most, truth is stranger than fiction. That's the most bizarre. It's unbelievable. That's such a beautiful story. You can't believe that things really happen like that.
Well, so I'm glad you're making this story. I'm making us watch it, bringing it to screen for us. Sid, I'm going to move over to you, but so much about Vikram Batra. I mean, how do you even get into playing a character like this?
So this was my first time playing a real life character, and then that too such a heroic character who's has so much written about him, whether it's in the armed forces, whether it's through his family members, whether it's through his brother. It was extremely challenging, as Vishnu was saying, to get a concentrated version of this this story and his essence. But I think predominantly what we have tried to portray is to show the reason why he was called, given that code name Shershaah, why he was called, Vikram Batra on the battlefield. So, and of course, there is a personal side that creeps into it. There is a mindset and a thought process that he comes from creeps into it. But for me, what was challenging was to give that variety in one film, variation, because no one person is same all through his life. And unfortunately for Captain Vikram Batra, he only lived till 24 years old. And we catch him around 18 or 19 and then go to 24. We also have jhalaks of him before, which obviously I haven't played. So it lends itself to a very interesting canvas for an actor to show different variety. If you see the songs, that's from the college portion. If you see the battlefield, that's from his most intense portions. So to bridge the gap, I think it's challenging and yet very interesting as an actor to sometimes, even if you've not shown the journey, but just to portray it within a scene that I have lived that journey. I have now trained I'm no longer in school or college. I've gone into the armed forces. This is my family. This is what I'm serving. So I think it had a lot of emotional jumps because of the narrative. but all thanks to the great research done by the team, whether it's Vishnu, whether it's Sandeep, the writer. I had so much material to really watch and learn from. People speaking about Captain Vikram Batra, and then I interacted with his brother very closely, his twin brother, who I also play actually in the film. Very interestingly done. So, I mean, it's my first time getting such real life instances and trying to portray my version of it on screen and getting the essence out. And I think, enjoyed the process so much that I'm really attached to the material, and I don't look at it as a commercial film anymore. And hoping that the family first watches the final product and feels that we've done justice to their son's life story.
Well, judging by the trailer, it sounds like you guys have as a team. It looks really, really good. Kiara, I'm going to move on to you. You've recently completed 7 years in the industry, so congratulations for that. How are you feeling as a whole, I mean, with your career and plus this movie releasing on Amazon on the 12th?
Now I'm taking it a little more seriously because everybody's been mentioning it in every interview. They bring it up, and I'm like, okay, it's a 7. Lucky number 7 for me, I guess. And I hope with this film, it's been an emotional journey. And I think what a beautiful way for this film to be that film in my 7th year, because it is a very emotional film for everyone associated with the project. It's been amazing. It's been absolutely, I've been really blessed to be doing exactly what I love to do.
And tell us a little bit about Dimple. What's
Learn
she?
more Punjabi now in 7 years. Than
I was just gonna ask. I was just gonna come on to that.
Hindi also. More Punjabi.
I just need to buy a house in Chandigarh.
Do we do this interview in Punjabi?
I'm not yet done an interview in Punjabi. Maybe that is the next one. I feel like, we're all so, I think we're all so blessed to be a part of this story and his story, because it's the most intriguing story that I've ever been narrated. I remember when Vishnu sir narrated this story to me, this film to me, I had tears at the end of the narration, and I felt like that was going to happen very often, because it is that story with just, I mean, everything about this man is the most inspiring soldier that I've read through this and known through his story. He's got the most unique love story. He's a hero in every sense. So it is a film that I'm sure each of us, when we heard of his story and when we heard of this, just felt like wanting to share it with the world. I felt everything about it, from his romantic relationship to his bravery at the battlefield, just to what an inspiring young man he was at 24. It was just waiting to be shared with everyone and the generations to come. So it is definitely a very, very special film in that sense.
And your whole experience of learning to speak Punjabi, did you know how to speak it before, or are you now a pro at speaking it?
Actually, I've played a Punjabi character in my earlier films, but I've never spoken the amount of Punjabi or such Thet Punjabi as we have in Shershaah. And that's because we are going back to the 90s. Also, in Chandigarh, she's a Sikh girl. That's the language that they spoke and communicated in during their college days, or with her family. So thanks to Sandeep, so our writer, and even Sid, who would correct me during readings and make sure that I got it right, I managed to really pick up the nuances of the language. So this is the first film I would say that I am speaking several dialogues in Punjabi.
Yeah, she also knows all the bad words. That's how we started.
I won't ask you to say any, so don't worry.
I don't remember any of them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Vishnu, just coming over back to you. I mean, this film, how do you make a film about war without kind of really homing in too much on violence? What kind of conversations were you and Sid having?
When it comes to because when there's when you're doing an action film, especially a war film, so there is going to be a lot of violence. But here, when you're talking about violence, to what extent are you going to take it? Action to what extent? So how much are you going to dramatize it? It's predominantly which has got to do with the treatment of it. So your action has a story. In that story, so how how much are you going to push the envelope? How much, to what extent you're going to go? But we were very clear on that, because luckily through the research, we got a lot of information of what actually happened right on top of the hill, because this was a televised war at that time, during the 1999, it was one televised war. And we don't know what actually happened on top of the hill. It was not like a fight that was fought on a flat land, but for the fact there were a lot of artilleries that were used. There were a lot of artilleries that were used to even to protect themselves, or to even just fight the enemies. So when it comes to that, so the designing part of it, of the action, that was very important, because myself and Sid, when we sat with the with the choreographer, with the action director, we had Stefan Richer, who was there with us, and Sunil Rodriguez, both of them. So we had the entire action graphed out. When it is graphed out, the strategical. So the focus was more on the strategical move, because of the terrain that they fought in. It was on a slope. So it's more got to do with strategy rather than just going and chopping people off, or, getting into how strategically can you move, and how can you attack strategically, and to the extent also, when you hit a bullet is going to hit, a blood is going to fall. To what extent the blood is going to fall, that's a creative decision that has been taken, and when an explosion happens, you need to feel the impact of the explosion, but not get into the violent side of it. So predominantly anything was only dealt with that, when it's from the entire choreographical part of it, that's how the action was designed.
Understood. And Sid, also I heard Ranja today, which is really beautiful. Of course, we've got Rata Lambiya as well, but how important would you say is the music for a film like this?
Very important for any film, any Bollywood film. We are skewed to hearing tunes and music in our movies, and especially in our film, we've used it because we have very limited amount of time. We've used it predominantly in the love story to show either the first, love in college, where it's so young and fresh between Dimple and Vikram, or now which was Rata Lambiya, which is that, first love, where there's a lot of shyness, a lot of awkwardness. Or then in Ranja, because as we spoke before, we have to skip time and show them that they're now matured into a couple and are more committed today.
Right.
They've spent that many years being together. So Ranja comes in showing that, and I think Jasleen and B-Prag have done a fabulous job.
Yeah.
I have worked with Jasleen in her first track in Baar Baar Dekho, and now she's back again. And this track was actually oddly supposed to be in another film of mine about 3 years ago. And I'm really happy that it's in Shershaah.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Beautifully, and they've adapted it so well. So I think it's definitely an important part, especially in a narrative like ours, because we had limited time to show the love story.
And Kiara, I'm going to finish off with you. So tell us why we should watch this movie on the 12th of August when it releases.
Well, I think it's also been a while since we've watched such an inspiring story. This movie it's more than just a movie for all of us. I think you'll be experiencing everything up close and personal like we did. I think that's exactly how Vishnu sir has directed it. That's how it's been shot. You'll feel like you're just there. You'll feel like Captain Vikram Batra. You'll feel like he's your friend, he's your man. You'll be connected to the love story. And these are all the things that stayed with me, and that's how the story impacted me. And I hope I feel if we're able to have that same impact on the audience, then I don't think it's really our doing. I think it's his story, because that's what inspired us to be a part of this film.
Well, super. We look forward to watching it. Thank you so much. All the best. And I'm definitely going to be playing Ranja on loop today. So I love that one. Thank you so much, guys. All the best, and good luck with everything. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Anushka. Bye-bye.